Rusty, welcome to the Grand Zero podcast. Thank you very much for your time.
Well, thanks for the invite. Third time lucky, is it?
I think it's third or maybe even the fourth, but we've got there in the end. We've got there.
Maybe fourth, yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome. It's
Again.
awesome. Well, before we now of course it's my end now. Before we kick off, I just want to pick your brain a little bit actually on the current situation that's going on over the Eastern Europe and Ukraine.
Yeah, well, it's a long story, mate. If you want my version, it would take up an hour. You know, I've got a totally different view than an awful lot of people. And the mainstream media are just putting a one-sided news across. You know, there's two sides to this, but they're quite happy to put one side across and get all the sheeple, as I call them, to follow their news.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I agree with that, actually.
In my opinion. Say again?
I said I actually agree with that, because you tend to, it was the same during the pandemic as well. It was all one side scaremongering.
There's no, you can ask me whatever you want about that, but I don't even believe there was one. Okay, not at all. And I still don't. I won't wear a mask, and I've not had injections. That's it. Yeah. And I'm 72.
Fighting strong.
I was starting my life out.
Yeah. Well, and another note before we kick off. Are you going to be supporting the red side of Manchester today in the Manchester derby, seeing as we could do you a favour?
I am, yes. Yep, big time.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one for Liverpool fans to swallow.
Yeah. Well, we are where we are, mate. We could do with the favour. We'll see.
I have to admit, I've said it to quite a few of my pals, even my father-in-law, Liverpool fans. And as much as it kills me to say, being a United fan, it's actually a joy to watch Liverpool play football. The way they play football, the way Klopp has got you guys going. No, it's taken him a while, but he's got it right. Yeah.
Manchester United have to go back and start again, really.
Yeah, we have.
Because they had it going for them for those years, and then it's,
Yeah, it's just gone down the pan. Well, the funny thing is, Rusty, as well, my old man was telling me he used to play in the regiment side with you. He was the goalkeeper. Way back in the day. Tommy Thompson.
Oh, in the Commandos.
No, he was the jump instructor down at the camp in Hereford.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Oh, I know you mean. I know you mean. Sorry, yeah. But there was one who played when I was in 2-9 as well.
Ah, got you. Yeah. So common name.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mentioned that I was having you on the show, and he went, "Oh, I know Rusty. I used to play football with him for the regiment." I was like, "Small world."
Yeah, but I used to be captain of the side, actually. SAS.
Must have been a good team. But I think we should get down into the nitty gritty. It is a small world, definitely. But I think we're going to have to get into the nitty gritty. So, what originally sort of got you interested in joining the military?
I'll be honest with you, I didn't have an interest in joining the military, none at all. I was forced into the army by my father, who reckoned I was going downhill very quickly. So as a 15-year-old, he took me to the recruiting office in Carlisle. I sat an exam, and I wasn't very good at school. I spent more time in the corridor in those days than I did in the classroom. And all I wanted to do was be a sports person. I just wanted to play football. I was 5'2", 7 stone. And he took me down there to the recruiting office. the physical side of it, I've flew through that with flying colours. That's how you used to do it. You had a physical side,
Yeah.
and then you had the written type papers to do. And I thought that was that. However, don't ask me how. I ended up in the Junior Leaders Regiment, Royal Artillery, down in Bramcut and Eton in Warwickshire.
Yeah.
As a 15-year-old. So I don't know how that happened, but that's how it happened.
Bloody hell. So was it like would they have had to gone through like a parental permission slip as you were 15, or were they recruiting at 15-year-olds then? That's mad.
No, in those days it ended up very good. But the first 3 months there, I just unhappy. I didn't like the discipline. I didn't like anything to do with any of that. So I would have bought myself out the army after 3 months when I went home on my first leave, but I couldn't. And nobody would give me £50 to buy myself out. That's what it was going to cost.
50 quid?
50 quid.
Jeez.
Couldn't get my hands on it. But I went back, and when I went back, that's how I got into the football side of, because somebody spotted and they asked me to come and join the regimental football team for, come training with them.
Yeah.
This is the junior leaders. And I thought, great. It changed my attitude, because all of a sudden I was playing football and getting paid by the army. And that was the start of my football career. I eventually ended up playing for the British Army and BAOR, so represented at the highest level, if you like, or semi-pro, whatever you want to call it. I got there, and it was there while I was in the army that I did that.
Yeah, it's amazing what sort of sports people come through in the military. Like, for example, my dad is a good example of that. He used to play over at Doncaster before he joined the Air Force at 17. And the same thing, he was like, well, I either play Doncaster and not get paid very much, or I join the Air Force, get paid, but still play football.
Sometimes it was 4 and 5 times a week. Sometimes I used to play in the morning and then play in the afternoon for another team. It was, a tracksuit soldier.
I was about to say tracksuit soldier. Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, that is one thing that I wish I'd pursued a bit more. Similar to yourself, being a sports person myself, that's what I wanted to do while I was in. I was like, I could play all these different sports. I managed to play rugby for the station and things like that, and boxing for the Air Force. But because of the theatres that we were in at the time, Iraq and Afghanistan, we had such a large turnaround that didn't really have much time to get into the sports, because it was like straight away you're on pre-deployment. It's like brilliant.
My day was totally different. There wasn't that sort of stuff going on. They give you a lot of time to play sport, keep yourself fit. And I played all sorts of sports in the end. I played rugby, football, cricket, basketball, boxing, all of it.
Yeah.
And that was over my time. And it was nice to be paid to.
Yeah, of course. Definitely. So what sort of interested you in joining the regiment then? How did that come about?
Well, I've always been fit.
Yeah.
All the way through my career in the army. And after I left boys service, I went into what was 49 Field Regiment, which was a northern-based regiment, artillery, and spent a few years there where it was, playing for the gunners, playing for everything around it was football.
Yeah.
And then to do a little bit of work. But once that, I got to a point when I was in Germany where it says being the fittest alcoholic in Germany. So, yeah. And then I thought, I've had enough of Germany.
Yeah.
So I volunteered for the commandos, and I ended up going on the commando course. You know, got my green beret down at Lympstone, the home of the Royal Marines. Spent a few years in 2-9 Commando down in Plymouth on training wing, keeping myself fit. But then I was getting itchy feet after every 3-4 years, wanting to do something different.
Yeah.
Met some of my mates who had just gone on selection 3 months before I met them. And 2 of them had already passed, and they said, come and join us. And I was in Plymouth at the time. I said, come up for the weekend. It was a bank holiday. So I went up to Hereford with them in the car, went on the piss all weekend, got to know people, loved it. You know, they had long hair and desert boots, all that type of stuff. I thought, this is more like me. So I went back to 2-9 Commando after that weekend and put my papers in to say, I want to go and do SAS selection. With that, they took my papers because it's voluntary. They can't make you do it.
Yeah.
And they can't really stop you doing it either. So, and I told them why. And with that, 1977, I did SAS selection and passed it first time, which was the hottest summer ever on record when I did my selection. It was hot.
Yeah, I bet.
And it still is to this day, the hottest summer, really hot.
Yeah, that must have been,
passed.
Because obviously well, trying to get people to realize how hard it is anyway. Like the amount of people that I've had say, oh, well, I've seen the TV show, it can't be that hard. I went, whoa, I'll stop you there. That's a TV show. You know, there's loads more.
Yeah, there's no resemblance.
Yeah, there's loads more.
No resemblance whatsoever.
To do with it. And like, even just going up the beacons with a bit of kit on is hard enough, let alone in blistering heat. That must have been horrendous.
It was hot, but it was enjoyable. Once you passed after the 6th month of grueling, day in, day out, day in, day out.
Yeah.
All weathers. You just have to put it to the back of your mind somewhere and just put your head down and think, I don't want to fail this, otherwise I might have to come back and do it again.
Yeah.
So every day was, for 6 months, it was like, how am I doing? Because nobody would tell you how you were doing.
Yeah,
I've heard back off something and you find that, you'd find that, come back off one of the tests and you'll find that another 10 guys have been taken off and sent back to their unit, and you just didn't know. Nobody gave you a time. You just had to do it as quickly as you could with as much weight as they weigh all your kit in between somewhere. They'll stop you, and if you've been cheating, you're off straight away. Everything was watched for 6 months. Everything. Yeah, so it was pretty grueling.
Unreal as well. And you have to fit as well, don't you? As in with the members of the regiment, like personality wise as well. Is that right? Because I've heard that you could get all the way to the end and then still be binned.
Yeah, that happens as well. Personality clashes, as they call it. A bit unfair, really. But an individual is an individual.
Yeah.
And the best thing to do, my advice would, get your head down, do what you've got to do. Don't bother upsetting anybody if you can help it. Keep your mouth shut and get on with it. After you pass, you can go and do what you want. It's as simple as that. And that's exactly what I did. You know, bad personality clashes while I've been there afterwards. But once I was there, you've been watched all the time. Make no mistake.
Yeah. Constantly on watch and constantly, it's a bit of a mind fuck, you could say, because you're constantly thinking, have I done something wrong here? missed out by a couple of minutes? Have I done this? And you're like, shit. It must be a relief though, getting to the end of each day going, I did all right on that one.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's voluntary. You know, don't volunteer if you're not going to go for it. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
You know, it's voluntary. Nobody can make you do it, but they can certainly take you off and say you're not up to the mark, and off you go back to unit.
Yeah.
They call it RTU, return to unit. Yeah, and that's been done. I've witnessed that lots and lots of times. And I did 15 years there. So I've seen a lot.
Yeah, definitely. Must have done. So the big thing I think that every listener has been waiting for me to talk to you about is obviously the embassy. What was it like getting that call to go, as it were, the call coming in saying you guys are going in? Must have been buzzing.
We've been there 6 days.
Yeah.
You know, we got there on the 30th of April. So, and the actual resolution was carried out on the 5th of May, 1980. And we've been sat around watching snooker. Cliff Thorburn was playing Alex Higgins next door in the final of the Embassy World Championship. And up until then, all the negotiations were going okay, you know. So there wasn't a great deal of problem there. Max Vernon, the head negotiator, did a brilliant job by getting us 6 days to plan, prepare. Everything we were ready to do was the mission, even to this day, never changed. The mission was to rescue the hostages. That's it. So everybody was well aware of that. Nobody tells you how to do it. The mission is to rescue the hostages. We were sat next door, and in the Royal College of General Practitioners, that was number 1415 Princess Gate. And once there was proof of murder, Mrs. Thatcher, she was the Prime Minister in those days. Once proof of murder, that changed everything, because a lot of people to this day don't realize that the whole operation was a Met Police operation, supported by the SAS. And it still was at that moment in time. It was only when the press attaché was thrown out, having been executed, shot 3 times, thrown out the front door. That was proof of murder on UK soil.
Yeah.
And within minutes, Mrs. Thatcher and the powers to be got the police to hand over control of the operation to the colonel of the regiment, Mike. So it became a military operation because proof of murder. So all of a sudden, it was handed over to us. The police were then supporting us when we did what we had to do. And then we had the magic words in my book behind me, go, go, go. That was only after it took us 16 minutes to get into position covertly. We didn't want to be compromised. Then we got, when everything was ready, go, 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 in we went. The mission, back of your mind, to rescue the hostages. 56 floors on 6 levels, and we cleared the lot in 11 minutes and accounted for everybody. And in that time, 5 of the terrorists died, 1 got out, but the hostages were rescued, and that was the mission.
Yeah.
So, and it took 11 minutes to do that. So it was quite a feat in its own, having done that, you know, but we carried out the mission, and that's why to this day, it's looked back on one of the great hostage rescues, which I was lucky enough to be a team leader on Blue Team, as a Lance Corporal, I might add, all those years ago.
Yeah. But it also shows how adaptable and capable the SAS are, and why why the elites practice for that reason.
Well, we've got the 7 Ps: prior planning and preparation, prevent piss poor performance. Okay,
Yeah.
there's the 7 Ps. The 2 words I use are the guys themselves are adaptable and flexible. They're adaptable and flexible, which means if something goes wrong with the plan, as it did on our day,
Yeah.
guys use this to change it, to make sure that the mission is going to be achieved. And the 2 words I use is adaptability and flexibility.
Yeah.
And most of the guys have got that in abundance. And that's what makes the plan work in the end.
Yeah. It just shows how you keep using the word capable, but capable that you guys are in. Well, it took 11 minutes in an adrenaline fueled clearance of a massive building, but also still to have the knowledge upstairs to go, that's hostage, that's terrorist, room's clear, etc. It's just, again, it's just a hell of a feat, like you said. For
the plan was quite, it was, what you have to do is keep a plan simple. And that's where we get the, what do you call it? KISS, KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Don't complicate anything. Don't complicate it. Keep it simple. And our plan was simple. Enter the buildings, all levels at the same time, simultaneously, then go through the building with your mission in the back of your head. And as things change, that's how you change, because you're adaptability and flexible. And make no mistake, that happened on the day. And the 11 minutes, considering there was 2 teams, red team and blue team, entering from all different levels. But in the back of your mind, once you got into that building, you could hear the flashbangs going off. You could hear people screaming, trying to get out the building. There's smoke in the air. There's gas in the air because we used gas inside. There's gunfire. And all of that, with people trying to get down the stairs and identifying them as they come down the stairs, and making sure you're passing them one to another, looking who's a terrorist, is this, that side of it, the 11 minutes I remember went like that.
It must have flown by.
Yeah, it did.
Because
but with all the background stuff going on, and you don't know where it is exactly because you've got the 6 levels, including the roof and the basement. It's and you trust in your own guys, that they're very capable with weapon handling and stuff, and that's exactly what happened. Everybody did the job, and everybody apart from 5 terrorists came out. Job done. And if I'm not mistaken, there was one that tried to get out, wasn't there, with the covering his face, trying to escape through the with all the hostages. That the IDing and the recollection of who you're looking for as well, because that was incredible. Because obviously, like you said, you're passing them down, you're checking all the hostages to make sure they're not sneaking out, and obviously one tried to sneak out. Well, you don't, because everything, there's people slipping on the glass that had broken from the skylight that had come through, picking them up, helping them, passing on to somebody else. And then, it was a second in command of the terrorists. We found out later. But when he came to me and I spun him around and identified him and saw the grenade, that's when I shot him. And he fell to the bottom of the stairs. But it was just, the grenade in itself is a threat and a danger. It's a weapon and could do serious damage. I wasn't bothered whether it had a pin in or pin out. All I noticed was his face, spun him around on the stairs and fired at him, and he fell to the bottom of the stairs.
So that must have been one of those heart skips a beat sort of moments when you've noticed that he's got the grenade in his hand. But obviously training kicks in Bosh.
Say that again, I missed that bit.
I was just saying it must have been the heart skips a beat sort of moment when he's turned around, he's got the grenade, but then the training kicks in.
Well, the fact is that there was people around him as well, including our guys at the bottom of the stairs and stuff. But you've got to make split decisions. That's why they're quite successful, the SAS. They're capable of making decisions and not asking, Sarge, can I do this? You know, they don't do that. It's in here. It's drilled into them. And that's exactly what it did. It took a split second. That was it.
It's just crazy to think that. Well, also a big prop, because she gets a lot of shit, old Thatcher as well. She gets a lot of shit, but the fact that she wanted to see what the British do when there's a terrorist on home soil, and she sends you boys in.
He wanted to show the world how we dealt with terrorists. And that came from her own mouth.
Yeah.
Because initially, the whole of that building at the front was going to be smoked off to the TV screens, to the TV cameras.
Yeah.
That was the plan. That was in the plan. And when I came out of the building in the end, after the 11 minutes, and saw it on TV, I thought it was a mistake. I thought somebody hadn't done the job. But in fact, it was Mrs. Thatcher said, we're not going to smoke it off.
Yeah.
We're going to let the cameras roll and show the world how we deal with terrorists. What a brave decision.
That is a brave decision.
You wouldn't get that these days of what we've got in power now, mate. Not at all.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Great decision. I didn't know. And I was one of the team leaders. I didn't know. When we went in, smoke it off, that was the plan.
Yeah.
Somewhere when we were getting into position, somebody changed that. I heard it came from the Prime Minister.
Yeah. Because obviously Special Forces is very, well, hidden, you might say. Very sneaky, very hidden. So to show, it was like the first involvement that anyone's ever really seen of what the SAS can do, and it was 11 minutes.
It certainly raised the profile of the regiment.
Definitely.
Because the old camp, when I got there, you could walk through from one side of the camp to the other and catch a bus. After 1980, the whole camp was rebuilt, security, top notch. Everything changed. And of course, the rest of the world wanted to be trained by the SAS. I made no mistake, our training teams, when they go abroad, and I've done quite a few of them, that's big money for the government.
Oh, definitely.
They get paid a lot to send a training team from the SAS to Sri Lanka, Nigeria, Nepal, to name but a few I've been to. But that was done within 11 minutes, if you think back on it. 11 minutes changed the whole thing. The whole thing was changed. And from then to now, it changed dramatically.
Definitely. And one thing I just want to quickly touch on, because obviously you've got on your screen on the far right, you've got the other that says go 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 as well. But obviously the movie 6 Days on Netflix. Were you directly involved with that? Because I have to admit it was spot on. Like everything.
I was the technical advisor on it from day one. When they came across here from New Zealand, it was New Zealand Film Corporation that did 6 Days on Netflix. And I met the screenwriter. I met the producer, Andrew, first of all. He'd read the book and he said, we can make a film of this. Well, I was delighted after all those years.
Yeah.
And I was just proud to have been involved with the book with back in 2010. That was the 30th anniversary of the siege. The book was due to come out for that. And Will Pearson, who was on the book, actually got it out in time. So they read the book. They came to me because they wanted a certain story. I was a guy with no gloves, as everybody knows. That's another story. And when they came over here, I met Matthew. Then he said, I'm going to put the screenwriter in touch with you, Glenn Standerin, again, another New Zealander. So he came over and I took him to Hereford and I sneaked him around some of the establishments and I let him see from the outside where the old camp was, where the old killing house was, give him some sort of feel. Then I introduced him to a number of the guys so he could get individual stories off them. They got my story, it was in the book.
Yeah.
However, I give them the story as well. But the other guys met in a pub, and over the 5 days, he made all his notes and went back to New Zealand. And when he got back and wrote the script, and they sent me the script to have a look at, I didn't want any love stories. I didn't want a Hollywood, and that was the real thing I didn't want. So Glenn went back, wrote the script. I've seen the script. I didn't have any issues with the script. What do I know about scripts? But I didn't have any issues with it.
Yeah.
No issues. Then the producer came across. I went to meet him, and I became technical advisor to the film. I met Jamie Bell, who became Rusty Firmin. So I give him a book, The Regiment, to read. He read that. Because this was done in New Zealand, by the way. The first part of the film was done in New Zealand. So we all went across there, and that's where the set was. Only after they finished over there, because everything was New Zealand. They're a bit more grown up than the UK are, let's just say that.
Okay, got you.
We went across there, and they built the set, and I was with Jamie Bell to start with. Then I had some of the actors and stuntmen, because they were doing the room combat and stuff. I taught them shooting techniques that we used back in the day, got the right weapons, everything else. I taught Jamie how to shoot, not live, obviously, it was all blank, but I taught him. And I was having a bit of frustration with Jamie. I helped pick him, by the way, to be the person who played me. I was asked about him. What do you think? I said, yeah, he's a northerner. I was a northerner. He was 30 when he did the filming. I was 30 when I did the siege. He's working class. I was working class.
Yeah.
He's a bit smaller than me, but actually, what a great quick learner he is. Apart from one, I'll tell you a story. When I was doing the shooting in the killing house, the one that was built out there, he just couldn't quite get all his feet right and stuff. Now, I know they're not going to see his feet, but it would help with his stance. Yeah,
of course, yeah.
And it was like, Rusty, and he came up to me and he went, you know what, after all these years of ballet dance, I just can't, I said, he's a ballet dancer, wasn't he?
Billy Elliot.
And I said, well, Jamie, it's easy. Go back and do it again. So he went back and done it again. And I said, right, just remember this. Rusty, don't effing dance. And he got it. And from that moment on, he got it.
Yeah.
And then it was a real pleasure to work with him. And he did really well, as did the actors and the stuntmen.
He's a fabulous actor as well. I watched him in, Turn, which is an Amazon Prime thing about the spies of Washington. He's brilliant in that. But in 6 days, I thought he was fucking fantastic.
He was ideal to train.
Yeah.
Very, very quick learner. And I always said to him, you don't have to be in the SAS. I'm just going to show you what you need to do. People aren't going to say, have you done selection? They're not going to say that.
No, exactly.
But you need to have it right on the set. And he did. And the actors and the stuntmen did really well, all of them.
Yeah, because that goes a really long way. I'm not sure if you're similar to me when you watch a military movie and you're watching it and you're like, well, that's bollocks. That's bollocks. Yeah. Who's their technical advisor? That's shit. Like, I always use the example of the BBC show Our Girl, which you probably haven't seen, but I was watching that and I was like, my wife likes it, so she was watching it and I literally couldn't sit down and watch with her because she was like, you're annoying me. Why you? I went, well, for a start, Mert was a Chinook, not a fucking Black Hawk. This is ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, it's yeah, it was good fun making it, but
Okay.
at the same time, I always knew my name was going to be alongside that film as the
Yeah.
advisor. So I wanted it to be the best of the
Yeah, of
best,
course.
and it's had some great reviews. And you know, what you put into it is what you get out of it, basically.
Exactly. And I'm not just saying this because you're on it, but hands down, I must have seen that movie 7, 8 times now since its
You've
release.
seen it more than me, mate.
I literally, I love it. I love it.
You've seen it more than me. That's all I can say.
It's really good. But one thing I do want to quickly ask you, actually, as you know, when I introduced myself, the main reason of the podcast was to guide me through my mental health issues and things like that, and the fact that I didn't have any sort of support when I left the military. But one thing I was quite keen to ask you, actually, was after the siege on the embassy, were you guys given any sort of trim or any sort of like a bigger debrief to settle you guys down, or is it just you're done and crack on?
No, all we did, mate, was have a few beers. That was it.
That was what I was
We
about
didn't
to say.
they didn't look. They've never looked after the troops. Okay, in my opinion, never.
Yeah.
We were no different. And I don't know what it's like this day and age. I've got no idea. I don't keep tabs on them at all. But actually, no, nothing.
Yeah.
You know, a couple of years later, we're over in the Falklands and stuff like that. You know, it just, they just don't care. You're just a number, an army number.
Yeah, that's how we all
it.
that's how
That's
we
all
all
you
feel.
are.
Yeah.
You come in an army number and you leave as an army number. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Off you
It's
go.
same these days as well, Rusty. Like, the reason why I asked is like that's a hell of a thing that you got, even though it was only 11 minutes, but obviously it's 6 days worth of planning. You're getting yourself worked up, ready to go. You get the go. You clear it all in 11 minutes. And then it's like, right, you're done. Like, oh, right. What am I supposed to do with all this? But like you said, sometimes, to be fair, sometimes just having a beer and a chat with the lads down the pub, sometimes that does help.
And it does. I mean, you know, we were very, in my day, I say that because I don't keep tabs on what's going on now. They're very busy these days. And we had a lot of time together where we're working every day in the type of training that we used to do is, you know, shooting every day in a killing house and stuff for 6 months. It sharpens you up. You can't be any better than that at the end of it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when you finish, it's always nice, you know, 10 of you, 12 of you, 15 of you might be down in the pub, just having a chat about things, but letting off steam. The next day, you know, you're back doing your stuff again. And very good at doing that, you know. You didn't get guys wandering around with hangovers and stuff like that. Not very often, anyway.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I saw it when I was in Germany and stuff. I could see where it was probably going to end, and I opted out of that one. I went to the Commandos.
Yeah, because it's a functioning alcoholics. I think I've heard the term for the British forces. Especially back in the 80s, 90s as well. Well, even when I was in from 2008, we used to go out on we'd go out on a Wednesday and go, well, Wednesday's pretty much Thursday, so Thursday's the new Friday. And it's like just sort of constantly on the piss. It was madness, but still managed. You'd go out on a Thursday, have a skinful, and still be up ready for parade and ready to do a 10-mile tab in the morning. It's craziness.
That's it, mate. It's all in here.
Couldn't do that now, Rusty. I had a couple of whiskeys last night to celebrate. Well, it's my birthday tomorrow, so I had a few whiskeys last night. I woke up this morning and I thought, oh God.
Happy birthday, mate.
Cheers, mate. Cheers, mate. But yeah, so you sort of touched there that obviously the Falklands. I haven't actually spoken to anyone that's been to the Falklands as in the Falklands War, not just for a jolly to look at some penguins and sheep. That's a crazy conflict war, whatever you want to call it, that doesn't get spoken about very much.
Well, the 40th anniversary is this, just about on us now. Started on the 2nd of April, 1982. It finished on the 14th of June, 1982. So it was a short conflict in reality. However, too many people died on it.
Yeah.
We lost 19 in one helicopter accident, 19 SAS guys, including a couple of attached signalers, which were 264.
Yeah.
And that was just one accident. Now, in my book, I go into the one behind you there, the regiment, 15 years in the SAS. I go into, we had different jobs on the, the SAS I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Pebble Island, where they blew up all the aircraft. That wasn't us. Then they had the mainland, some of the guys on the mainland. And then they had our guys who went down, and we were going to attack mainland Argentina's airfield, Punta Gorda. And that's what we trained for, to land 2 C-130s down on the airfield at Punta Gorda. And then the damage that had been done by the Exocet missiles, everybody remembers them. Well, there was 3 Exocet missiles left. There was a fleet of Super Étendard aircraft that flew the Exocet, and then our job was to go there, land on there, try and find the 3 remaining Exocets in case they did more damage, get rid of them, blow up all the aircraft, and kill the pilots. That was it. That was our mission. That only got scrubbed right at the very end because there was a problem with guys that landed on the ground, the recce party, plus to some degree, the 19 guys had to be replaced.
Yeah.
And our squadron was there to replace them. So they came out eventually, and we went in and took all their weapons and stuff off them, and we carried on to the end of the war. And in a nutshell, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Much more detail. It's called Operation Ricardo. That was our operation. And again, the Prime Minister, Maggie Thatcher, at the very end, decided that that plan would have been workable, but it would have been Operation Certain Death. It's all there. We'd never got back. If we'd have done what we went there to do, we were then going to have to escape and evade over the mountains into Chile.
Mm.
That was it, because Chile were friendly.
Yeah.
Pinochet, they were friendly with the UK, so we had a safe place to get to. But eventually we found out there's thousands of troops around the airfield.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Yeah, you know, I mean, do me a favor. But we planned and we were going to go. And that was that. But yeah, and that's the mindset.
Yeah, that is a mindset, because it
is a mindset.
That is a crazy mindset,
probably,
especially if you've basically been told it would have been called, like you said, Operation Certain Death, and you have to go, right, I'm gonna have to put myself in this mindset.
You don't need the brains of a judge, mate.
No. Service before self, as they say.
But yeah. So yeah, the Falklands 40th anniversary coming up, and we've got some stuff up here in New Brighton. They're going to put a huge mural up on the wall very shortly.
Nice.
This is New Brighton up on the Wirral.
Yeah.
And they're going to put a huge mural up there for people to see. And I've been in touch with certain Argentinians, certainly one of the pilots who was in charge.
Yeah.
Who's one of the pilots we're going to kill, by the way. And he knows that because he got in touch with me when he put the news out the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's been in touch with me, and I haven't met him, but we've done Zoom meetings and stuff.
Yeah. It's one of those, isn't it? A lot of people don't seem to realize that, because they see it as, we are British, we are Allied forces, we are the ones that are always in the right, etc., etc. But there's two sides to war, because obviously they're thinking the same thing.
They should never have been sent there.
No, they shouldn't.
Because,
You're right.
Because Galtieri was under so much pressure at the time. What's the best thing to do? Start a war. Takes everything away from him.
Yeah.
It was just a waste of life.
Yeah.
They were never going to win it. They were never going to win it. And it's a shame that so many people in such a short conflict died.
Yeah. And again, really like I said, it's not really spoken about very much at all, which is,
yeah,
it's like you could say a bit like Korea, like the forgotten war. It's madness.
Yeah. Well, it's in the book behind you, The Regiment. It's in there. It's dedicated quite a bit to it.
Yeah.
There are articles around, but in the main, it wasn't a long one, but it was quite costly if you think about it.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, good guys as well. You know,
it's just, yeah, it's a shame with any conflict or war. It's just too many perish and go. It's or come back and not the same.
That's it.
But like we said, but then you're just a number at the end of the day, and you're set free, and they wonder why so many veterans are a little bit messed up, unfortunately.
Well, it's payback time to some degree, because there's a lot of them now are thinking, you know, like the Northern Ireland veterans, which I'm on their side.
Yeah,
I'm a Northern Ireland veteran myself. And the guys that are being hounded 40 and 50 years on.
Yeah, that's
nowadays, if I was going to join the military, I'd take a look at that and say, do I want to go and do what I've got to do for this country, then come back, and then years later, some clown that gives somebody like Tony Blair, you know, the Prime Minister at the time, the Good Friday Agreement, letters of comfort. Yeah, it's okay for him. What about the families of the people from Northern Ireland? The guys, some of them, Dennis Hutchins was a classic example, only just. You know, he went out there again. He had been cleared a few times already. They still wanted him out in Belfast to go back again. And the poor sod died out there before he could ever get back to his family. That's, you know, where is that? What part of that is right? There is no part of it
exactly.
You know, but they don't care. They're there to appease other people rather than look after their own. And it's the same with mental health. You know, I've met so many. I'm a patron of 4 charities. Okay, unpaid. I don't get paid for them. I'm a patron of 4 charities. You know, and I work with amputees. I see people, you know, and I do it voluntary.
Yeah.
And, you know, they say that I help inspire them. Actually, they're the guys that inspire me.
I agree with that as well.
Seriously. And I'm just one of those people. But I see it on regular occasions, you know, and you think, what a waste. What a waste.
Yeah.
But I'd certainly be looking, I'd be looking over my shoulder now before I ever joined, thinking, I don't want to have a family when I get back. I don't want a family that my kids are going to watch me get dragged through this.
Yeah.
You know, and you can't say that's not going to happen because there's no insight, nothing.
Yeah.
Say they're trying to do anything about it. It's just a pile of lies, all of them.
It's just like
starting with Tony Blair, all the way down. They're liars, all of them.
I 100% agree, and it even comes up to even the Iraq War now with the likes of Brian Wood, who got dragged through it all, and it's like, Jesus Christ, that man got a military cross for putting his life on the line, and you're dragging him through saying that he's committed war crimes. Fuck off.
Oh, Brian's a friend of mine. He's actually a patron for one of the charities I'm a patron for as well.
Yeah, he's a
and his story. I'm so glad that he got his story out in the end, to let other people see just how bad that we are at looking after our own.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we'll give millions away to everybody. Take some more money. You know, take some more money. You lot. it comes down to our guys. They have to beg, borrow, steal,
Yeah,
and it goes on.
it does indeed, and sickening with what they do.
Yeah.
But yeah, it starts with the fucking dickhead at the top that goes, right, you guys are going to war, and because we signed up, we go, and then it's us that's the ones that are prosecuted for it.
It's just beyond belief, mate. And what they do is they then tell lies, don't they? Well, we're going to fix this. We're going
Yeah.
to, and then they don't. And then they put somebody else. Oh, we'll have a reshuffle. We'll move the people around. Right. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. It doesn't happen. They just sit down there. Prime Minister's question time. Have another beer.
Yeah.
On the house, by the way, we'll pay for that.
Oh yeah, of course.
The taxpayers will pay for that. Let's have another one. Yeah, they don't do sod all down there, nothing, but whinge and whine throughout the day. That's it.
Yeah. Me and my brother have spoken about it before as well, because it seems that with every government, every prime minister, they all seem to be from a very similar background. All privately educated, all highly educated.
And
like, you get a regular Joe in there.
They've all been to the class of Billy Liar as well.
Oh yeah, they love
one
that.
Of them.
They're experts.
Every one of them.
They got a doctorate in lying.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you had a regular Joe, you might say, who's very switched on, is a man that comes from a working class background. If he decided to go into politics, he wouldn't get anywhere, because they're like, nah, you shush. That's the problem.
Well, it would be nice if we had somebody that maybe had served some time in the military and understands it, because they're not the public school boys with, mouths that do everything, but they've got no understanding, none at all, about the real world.
No,
because none of them have sampled it, or very, very few, shall I say, have sampled it.
Yeah.
But it would be really nice to think, that somebody who actually knew how the military operates, rather than somebody who just pushes a button and says, yep, let's go.
Yeah.
They don't do that. They don't do that. And that's where a lot of the problem is, because their advisors are useless. Most of the advisors, how many advisors does Boris Johnson have? Too many.
Yeah, exactly.
Even his wallpaper was crap in the end, but
yes. I said the same thing to my wife. I was like, who is this interior designer? Because they're shit.
Hello?
Yeah, it's me.
Hello, just very quickly, I'll ring you after your podcast.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So I was expecting a call, mate. You can cut that bit out, can't you?
Yeah. It's no problem anyway. You're all right.
I did say 11 till 12, but yeah.
Yeah. We're almost. We're right. We could.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I said it on a previous podcast. It's as though even when they do their address to nations and things like that, whoever it is, whether it's him or the health secretary or whoever, it's like,
yeah,
are you guys going to have someone who's a regular person telling you not to say that because you're coming across like a right dick?
I don't know, mate.
They should.
It gets to a point where everything that goes on the mainstream media is what they want. It's not necessarily what you should be hearing.
I agree.
It's what they want. They want you to hear it, and then they'll put it on there. What you should be hearing is very often, as is the likes of what's going on in Ukraine and Russia now. They even took RT off, didn't they?
Yep.
The Russian station, they took it off the other day because they were telling the truth, and they took it off. Gone.
That's what I've said to my missus all the time, mate. I'm like, don't watch the news. I went, if you watch some BBC, ITV, or anything like that, they're just telling you one side. Don't watch that. When you're probably better off going on Instagram and or Facebook, and you'll probably get a more truthful account from someone. I follow a guy who's a press officer over there at the minute. He's former Royal Marine, and I sent him a message. I went, "Everything all right?" And he went, "Yeah, there's a few contacts going about, but we're all right at the minute." So, fucking hell, fair one.
Yeah, it's you know, you need to have at least two faces to be in this game.
Yeah.
You know, at least. Most of them have got more than that, but actually, you need at least two faces, mate.
Yeah.
You know, because they're all a bunch of liars. 9 out of 10 of them are a bunch of liars, mate.
100%.
That means the one that's left over doesn't get much of a say.
He doesn't
because
get.
the other
Yeah, he
nine
doesn't
will
get
be
a say.
picking on him.
Yeah.
You know, simple as
Because
that.
he'll say the truth, and they'll shush him away, or unfortunately he'll do something, and he'll be asked to resign for whatever reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%.
That's the case, mate. That's where we are.
Yeah.
It's not likely to change that I can see.
No.
In the foreseeable future. But it'd be nice to have somebody that you could look up to and respect. The last one I did was Mrs. Thatcher. That was the last one that I could respect as far as prime ministers go.
Yeah.
You know, and it is scary.
Yeah. Well, I was always unsure with Boris because. Or what? I was always unsure with Boris because I always thought he was going to be what he said he was going to be. You know, I was a bit wet behind the ears, and then obviously he's not what he said he was going to be, and he's like, "Oh, you're literally like the rest of them."
But isn't it nice that we didn't get Corporal Corbyn in?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, could you imagine? Could you just imagine Corporal Corbyn? No.
I try not to.
No way, mate. No way.
100%. 100%. So when you left the regiment, did you go into security work or anything like that, like most do, CP and whatnot?
Oh, I've done it. Yeah, I've done all that work. They call it the circuit, really.
That's what my dad calls it. Yeah, the circuit.
It's a progression of leaving the forces. 9 out of 10 guys that I know go on the circuit, sign up for all the major players. You know, the companies.
Yeah.
Security in particular, and wait for phone calls. That's what a lot do, and I was no different.
Yeah.
So I've done CP work, I've done surveillance, I've done all sorts of jobs since I left.
Yeah.
You know, all because of what I've done in my background.
Yeah, it's quite an easy transition, isn't it, to go from because I went on normal security. That's what I do now. Well, I'm a security manager now. For a site, but before that I did surveillance work, which was pretty good. I targeted benefit cheats. That was my main one. That was a lot of fun to do.
Yeah.
Catching them out.
Yeah, no, I've done it all over the world, you know. So yeah, when I came out, it was the right thing for me to do.
Yeah.
And again, I wouldn't really swap it. I might have changed the way I did certain things, but it was a way of getting to see places I probably never get to see.
Yeah.
I don't know. What have I been in? 120, 130 countries? I don't know. A lot.
It's a lot of traveling. You know, Man of the world.
Yeah.
Because I think I might have read on your
I do believe that
I think I might have read on your website. Did you do something with Braveheart? Were you security for Mel Gibson, or was it
Mel Gibson? Yeah, Mel Gibson. He came over in the early 90s, and I got a call of a friend of mine down in Queen Street, JMP Security. It's not there anymore, and he used to be in the regiment. He said, "I've got a job for you if you want it." I said, "What is it?" He said, "They're making a film called Braveheart." I said, "What's that?" He said, "Mel Gibson's in it." I said, "Oh, I know Mel Gibson. I like him." He said, "I'd like you to go up there if you like." And the set was at the bottom of Ben Nevis.
Oh, really?
But he had his wife and 5 of his 6 children with him. And they were 10 miles from the set. Because they didn't want paparazzi anywhere near them and all that type of stuff. So it was a mixture of going down to where the set was and trying to keep an eye on his family and keeping them out the paparazzi's eye because they didn't know where they lived.
Yeah.
But surely they could have found out if they'd have really wanted to. But that was one of the better early jobs, actually. It was just up and down to Scotland, spend, I can't remember, was it 2 weeks and then swap over with somebody, let him do that, and then go back. You know, rotation.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it was a bit of fun. Not long hours because he was directing and he was
he did pretty much all of it, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he did both of it. So let's say he started at 5 a.m. By the time they've seen the rushes at night, that's the filming they've done through the day, might be 11 o'clock midnight before they get back home. It's the same the next day and the same the next day. And it's just like I've been on selection. It's a long day. It's a long day. But you know, you've done it before. And we had the first, remember when the mobile phones came out?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. The Motorola, right, was about that big.
Yeah.
And it had a whip antenna about that big.
Yeah.
Out the window of the car, you know, you were the dogs, you know, you really were, because you had the Motorola, you know. And that was one of the very, very first type of mobile phones that came out, but we had them.
Yeah.
You know, so it was, yeah. But you needed two hands to work it, you know what I mean?
It's that big.
I mean, but yeah, good days.
It's like the sat phones that you got even when you're on tour. It's like that.
Yeah.
Because we were always told, obviously, you're in theatre, you can't take your mobiles with you because they can hack your phone and get all your details, send messages to your kids and wife and whatnot. Now, I always thought, how are they doing that in a mud hut? Because that's incredible. But they were like, no, you can use your sat phone, fucking like this. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Try and phone the wife and it would cut out halfway through. You're like, fuck's sake.
Yeah.
But yeah,
anyway,
that's awesome. That's awesome. But to be fair, mate, I know you're a busy man. You got lots to get on. But I just want to really, really say how much I enjoyed this chat, and it's an honor and a privilege to have you on.
Well, let me know when it's going out.
Yeah, I will. Send
me a link or something. Or
yeah, it doesn't take me long to get the editing done and get it out. It usually takes not long at all. The beauty of Zoom, that is, it does it all for you.
Oh no, I know, yeah.
But mate, genuinely, thank you very much for coming on. It really has been a privilege to have you on.
Well, thanks very much, and say hi to the old man.
I will do.
And tell him he still owes me a beer.
I will. Well, he's still in Hereford, so next time you're in there, I'll tell him to.
I'll be up there shortly again. And my two sons are there. So.
Oh, brilliant!
Well,
my whole family's
Sean,
up there.
Thanks very much, mate.
Cheers, Rusty. Cheers. Thank you very much.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, buddy. Bye. Well, look at that. A living legend himself, Rusty Firmin, coming on the podcast. A fucking huge honor for me. I was saying the other day to people that having someone like Rusty is like having a huge movie star on for regular people, a celebrity on. In the military world, Rusty Firmin is up there. He's up there. You know, the man with no gloves. In he goes, the Iranian embassy, 1980, fucking madness. You know, it's a shame that one of his best mates, John McAleese, isn't alive, because he'd be another one that would be an absolute honor to have on. But thank you all for listening. Thank you all for sending out the birthday messages for the podcast. It's been 3 years and still a journey. We're still going. But yeah, finally we got it done. The birthday episode. It's only taken us 4 attempts to get us on, but it's done. Winning. Big shout out to Kent CBD, obviously fueling me with my CBD needs. But as they always say in the regiment, per ardua, through adversity. I'm Tommo, and I'm out.